Hey guys, today we're going to talk World of Logs, something which I hope you guys have been looking at, and this is going to be nothing more than a refresher. If it's not, then it will be our little secret. I haven't really planned any of this out. I'm just going to kind of take a little look, go through the processes that I use when I check it, and hopefully you guys might pick something up or understand what it is that we need you to do when we look at world logs. So let's start off by finding us, and I'll assume for this time that none of you guys have ever used this before. So the easiest way to do it is you go into Realms, and then we click English, and you get all the realms come up, and we'll find Ragnaros, which is where we are. And we should be under active because we upload lots, and there we are, hullabaloo. Click on us, and here are all our recent logs. Let's look at last night, shall we? So that's finding us. It's nice and simple. What are we looking at when we get in here? There's a number of different things that you want to check. Firstly, let's kind of have a little look at how our DPS fares. So if we come over to this tab here, what I've done is I've selected an attempt, like a reasonable attempt. We've got Hagara here. I've gone down to one of our many wipes, try number 11 I think, because it's a nice long period of time for us to get a look at, and clicked on this tab here, and damage done, and you'll see this here. What we've got is we've got the top 3 DPS automatically selected with this kind of like orange line here with the totals of what DPS we're outputting. We can add Andy, add Binky, add Rob, add Umi. I'll leave Umi out for this one. Let's kind of see what we're looking at here. I've got some other examples to show you as well. You can kind of drag here and then zoom to selection. So this is kind of like the start of the fight where we haven't really got anything to do but DPS the boss. We can see that Mike is peaking quite nicely. Gutara gets off to a nice start and then seems to dip. The idea here is we want to see, well, you guys want to be looking at where you're doing effective DPS, and you want to be looking at everybody else and finding out where they're doing effective DPS. Because I mean, let's take this section here for instance. Let's zoom in. You can see that Gutara seems to get more out of this section of the fight than anybody else. So the question is, we should be bugging Gutara to work out what it is he's doing. Find out why he's more effective on that phase by a long shot, when usually he's kind of, right in with the bunch. The other big kind of glaring thing is if you look at, say, I think this one here. This is infinite cooldown. This is their kill from the other night. Look at the curves. You've got kind of real defined DPS windows, where they are all outputting maximum DPS. They kind of follow suit. They're all very close, which means that the guys are outputting their maximum DPS at roughly the same times. You can guess that these big peaks here are the phases where you kind of just, she's stunned and you're nuking the shit out of her. It's these kind of little ones here that you're interested in as well. But if you kind of compare that to ours, we're getting there, but you've got a couple where, like I said, Magnus here outdistancing everybody. You've got this one here, which is really interesting. Everybody's kind of peaking here, apart from Orzma, who does very little DPS when the rest of you guys are doing big numbers, but then goes absolutely ape shit afterwards when a lot of you have dipped. You can guess, to be a little bit fair, that Gutara and Binky here were ice blocked, That's why their DPS is breaking. But it's well worth finding out both ways whether or not Sandra's doing DPS, what she can do better to improve it here, and maybe what you guys are looking at to get here. I mean, you can see the difference in kind of DPS levels. I think it's a lot cleaner line. If you compare it to a guild that are really struggling in this fight, again 3 minutes 45. I mean, that's a mess. They've got one guy basically doing, peaking. The rest of it is, really fucking messy, to be honest. So you can kind of look at the kind of comparative like arcs, and that's a very nice arc. That's guys clearly getting targets and outputting DPS all at the same time. So that's kind of your real overview. Other couple of things to look out for here is again active time. Your active times here. Do a quick side-by-side comparison. Some fights are better than others, but Mike as a retry 90%. Let's look at anything comparable for here. Yonu 94.4%. So there's he's got some margin to work on there. Let's look at the hunters and mages. Mage 90%, 95.7%. Let's look at ours again. Oarsman is up there, 85. Rob again a little bit low on 65%. So we can kind of get an idea that there are places for us to work on as DPS. Let's have a little look at Rob. Find out why, for instance, he is a little bit low. So we'll click on him, and we'll have a little look at damage by spell. And what we're looking at is kind of effective damage done. Let's go for a comparison here. Let's use this. Let's use their hunter as well. The thing to look at with these is the DPS levels might be different because your gear levels can be different. The thing we're looking at here is for DPS, looking at your damage by spell and kind of seeing whether or not you're roughly similar. So where are we? Let's move this up here. So biggest damage dealers. You've got explosive, auto, arcane, cobra, serpent sting. Explosive, auto, cobra, arcane, serpent sting's a little bit lower. So you can see that there's a small difference there. Rob's using arcane shot more times than this other dude is, and not quite as much on the cobra shots, but it might be down to the length of the fight and stuff like that. The big things is knowing your spells here. So the two big dots that we have as hunters are your kind of serpent sting and your black arrow, and we want to try and aim for as close to 100% uptime as we can. Because obviously the more uptime it's got, the more damage it's doing. Obviously you're not going to have 100% uptime on this fight because you've got Hagara being bubbled, you're dealing with the lightning phase, but you should be able to you should be looking to dot the lightning ad. You should be looking to dot the ice pillar things. So again, let's look at the kind of hunter that killed this. Let's kind of look at his where is he? Black arrow uptime 63%. His serpent sting 76%. Let's kind of see how that stacks up with Rob. Black arrow 39% and 52%. So you can see essentially that's a big chunk of DPS that Rob's missing. So that's an area that he can look at, come back in and go, right, looking through my logs, I need to try and see if I can maximise my uptime for this fight. That's a good thing. I'm not quite sure where the hell multi-shots coming from that other guy. That's a little bit interesting, isn't it? What the fuck did he multi-shot? Yeah, that's an interesting one. I've never seen. He did 4 multi-shots on something. Yeah. Yeah, so that gives you a basic idea of kind of your own uptimes. It's a very good idea to do stuff like this where, you know, find other people that have been successful in killing the boss and compare yourself with them, basically, and kind of that's kind of my main function in world logs. It's the thing that I do the most. Is try and basically compare myself to other people. So again, who we got here? Scorsy. That doesn't help. He's arcane. So we can find him for Fire Mage for Orsma. There we go. Right. So again, let's look at kind of damage dealing. Fireballs right at the top. Living Bomb, Ignite, Pyroblast. You know, Fireball. She's a bit lower on Living Bomb. You know, that's something that potentially might be worth looking at. Of how's this guy getting more out of his Living Bomb than Sandra is. You know, it was again uptime 79.5%. You know, Living Bomb 68%. So there you are. There's a possible answer. That again, the uptime's not quite where it maybe needs to be. Excuse me. You know, but that's the basic thing for your DPS. The other things to look at are let's look at me and mock me now. Do we have any pallies, holy pallies in this group? Fucking better have. We do, but he's not done anything. Okay, so let's look. You know, healing by spells, divine light, a couple of flashes. That's you know, looking at why they're happening. You know, I'm pretty happy with that. To be honest, maybe want to try a bit more divine radiance, holy radiance, whatever it is. Give that a crack. But for kind of what I'm going to look at here are buffs gained. Excuse me a second. Yeah, my buffs gained. There are certain things that we want to have up 100% of the fight. It's going to be a bit different because, you know, for some reason it starts logging way before a fight. So, you know, for instance, you know, resistance aura is up all the time, or should be up all the time. I can't quite work out why it's saying it's only up 60% of the fight. It's a little bit bizarre, that, as it's something I never use. But yeah, we're looking for things like judgments to be up all the time. For me, they're going to drop off. I think this time we had 2 lightning phases, so they do tend to drop off in the lightning phase because I've got nothing to DPS for a while. Yeah. Devotion. Yeah, that's really weird, that one. So I'm assuming that that's kind of like the maximum uptime of 84%. So according to this, I've turned resistance aura off during this fight, which is odd. Yeah, but there's things that we should be looking at, like you know, I'm using my divine plea to get mana back, so that's good. I'm using my guardian on some phases. You know, I'm divine shield, so I'm using my cooldowns, you know, when I can. You know, divine favor is getting used, that's good. Here's a thing that I know, like for me, that I need to work on really badly, is my uptime on divine protection needs to be way higher. Like, I should be casting that every time it's off cooldown, because it gives me reduced mana. It's a big healing thing for me. So that's something that I can spot that I need to look at. You know, again, we can do that per player. So let's look at let's look at Guitar, see what buffs he should have up. Okay, buffs gained. Yeah, you see, look at that. That's weird. Look, they've had devotion resistance. They had it for longer than I did. Bizarre. Yeah. Clear castings up 45% of the time. You know, it's doesn't have an awful lot of buffs, does he? Fury of the Ancestors, that's a nice one. Yeah, so basically this gives you an idea of what you're looking at. Also, you can see how you died. Lightning conduit, so yeah, maybe look at where you're standing on this one, although that was pretty much the end of the fight he died at. So yeah, that's basically World of Logs in a nutshell. The little things you should be looking at: your own DPS uptime, your dot uptimes, comparing yourself with other players, looking at your kind of your buffs, seeing what kind of percentage that they're going and how you can improve it. And yeah, that's all I can really think of. I'll try and do some more detailed stuff about, you know, coding and crap, but I don't really know that much yet. So yeah, I'll get on that and then I'll put another video up shortly. I hope this helped. I hope it wasn't too boring just watching me waffle on for another 20 minutes. Right, enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys later.